Hello and welcome to Wisdom and Productivity, the podcast of Dr. Efrain Martinez. I am a principal in search of wisdom, and I have found productivity to be a great tool for success. Today episode's title is Emulating Lincoln: 4 Ways School Principals Can Improve Their Game. Today we delve in the captivating leadership of Abraham Lincoln. We will explore how his issue with empathy, dealing with challenges, working with rivals, and learning from his mistakes can inspire school principals to create a positive learning environment that brings out the best in every student. Let's dive into it. Number one, Lincoln's empathy, connecting with others. Lincoln empathy was a defining characteristic of his leadership. Lincoln's empathy allowed him to understand the perspective and emotions of those around him, fostering trust and unity. He built solid relationships and inspired cooperation even in challenging times by genuinely listening to others and considering their feelings. So, the question is then, can school principals apply this empathetic approach when leading school teachers? Of course. Principals can cultivate empathy by actively listening to teachers, acknowledging their challenges, and showing genuine concern for their well being. This approach creates a supportive and collaborative environment where teachers feel valued and motivated to provide the best for their students. Let me give you an example. When I went to study to become an administrator, nobody told me that I would face the reality that every teacher is at their level. What does this mean? If you think about the basketball analogy, you never have five Michael Jordans in the court. You have one. You have your Michael Jordan, you have your Scottie Pippen, you have your Dennis Rodman, etc. You need that Dennis Rodman to take those rebounds. You need that Scottie Pippen and that Jordan making the points. You need the Paxson passing and making those 3 pointers. Everybody plays an integral role on the court. What does that mean? That in school, not every teacher is going to be at their maximum game. Not every principal is going to be at the maximum game. We must meet everybody where they're at in order to best support them. That has been a great lesson for me as an administrator and should be a great lesson for you as well. Number two, dealing with challenges. Lincoln and General Meade. Lincoln faced numerous challenges as a leader, including dealing with General Meade's failure to follow orders after the Battle of Gettysburg. How did Lincoln handle this situation, and what lessons can principals learn from it? Lincoln was furious. He was pissed at General Meade's actions when he decided not to follow his orders. We are saying here that the Civil War could have ended at that moment, but Lincoln, ever so wise, refrained from reacting impulsively. Instead, he wrote a letter expressing his disappointment but did not send it. He understood that impulsive reactions could damage relationships and decided to address the issue calmly and constructively in person. How can principals emulate this approach when dealing with challenging situations with their teachers? Principals can follow Lincoln's example by taking a step back and refraining from immediate reactions. They should approach the teacher privately, open a dialogue to understand the situation thoroughly, and collaborate to find a solution that benefits both the teacher and the students. Let me give you a specific example, one of my failures as a school leader. In my school, we had implemented a rule where no grade could be lower than a 50. This rule is based on the article The Case Against Zero, which basically says if an A is 10 points, a B is 10 points, a C is 10 points, a D is 10 points, but a 50 is sending you to a concentration camp. It is 50 points. So a student that gets a 0 has to work 5 times as much as a student who got a D. So the idea of the case against zero is that when the student fails or misses to do the assignment, you assign them a 50 and they have an equal a struggle to work from a F to a D, then from a D to a C, etc. So we have implemented this rule. We have provided professional development, and towards mid-end of the year, I noticed that many of the teachers were not following this rule. So instead of me going one by one and talking to these teachers to professionally persuade them to do the right thing and to follow the policy of the school, I sent a mass email individually to each teacher. But what happened? This email came across as breaking the trust. It came across as reactive, and it was not taken the right way. In the moment, I was upset, and I was thinking this email will solve things. It's way easier than going and talking to people. But guess what? It cost the trust that I had with the teachers. And what happens is that when you hurt the feelings of some teachers, they get together and they see you as someone who is against them. And that is the worst thing that can happen, because when teachers and administrators are not working together, only the students suffer. So the lesson for me, just like Lincoln, is like, yeah, you might think what you need to think. Maybe you want to write something, but do not send it, because at the end of the day, all you cause is the breaking trust, and the students and their relationship with the teachers and the administrators break. So learn from those mistakes and become a better educator. So before we continue with the 4 ways we can improve the game of the principal, emulating Lincoln, let's praise the Teach Better community.
This podcast is a proud member of the Teach Better Podcast Network. Better today, better tomorrow, and the podcast to get you there. Explore more podcasts at www.teachbetterpodcastnetwork.com. Now let's get back to the episode.
Number 3, team of rivals working together for a common goal. Doris Kearns Goodwin's book, Team of Rivals, highlights how Lincoln worked with political rivals in his cabinet. How did he manage this? And what can principals learn from this approach? Lincoln recognized the value of diverse perspectives and appointed strong rivals to his cabinet. He fostered an atmosphere of open debate and encouraged different viewpoints to contribute to effective decision making. Principals can apply this by embracing diverse ideas with their staff, promoting collaboration, and valuing each teacher's unique strengths. For example, Lincoln appointed Edwin Stanton, a former rival, as his Secretary of War. Despite initial differences, Stanton provided invaluable to the administration, playing a critical role in guiding the Union to victory during the Civil War. Let me give you a specific example of working together with people at the school. I remember when studying to be a principal, They warned us about that principals will have to battle people in the union because the assumption was that the union were the bad guys who were not allowing the school to succeed. And I absolutely, when I began as a principal, I had a contentious relationship with the union. And I also brought that with me that I learned in grad school, that the way to run a school is that you teach the union how to do things. But just like with Lincoln, you have to learn how to work with different people. And at the end of the day, both people in the union and in the administration want what is best for students. And there is a contract, there's an agreement between the district and the union for a reason. That contract must be followed and respected, because at the end of the day, that's what we teach the children, that they are to follow the laws, the constitution, the policies in order to be a good citizen. So I encourage you to have a close relationship with your union reps in the school, with the union as a whole, and break that tradition that it has to be one side against the other, the school against the union against the district. We can all work together for the benefit of children, for the benefit of our well being as educators in a school, and that will be more conducive for better outcomes. And finally, number 4, learning from mistakes, leadership succession. While Lincoln was remarkable, he made some mistakes too. This is what the historians say, including not having a clear succession plan before his assassination. What lessons can school principals learn from this? Lincoln's lack of succession plan led to a challenging presidency for Andrew Jackson, termed by some as the worst president of the United States. Andrew Jackson lacked the same leadership qualities, but also he didn't have much to work with. Principals should take note and ensure they have a well thought out succession plan to ensure a smooth transition and continued success, even if they move on from their position. Let me give you a specific example. Principals, do not have a top down approach. Do not be a micromanager, be a macromanager. Use distributed leadership. Empower your assistant principals, your administrative assistants, and other leaders like coaches, like leaders of the leadership team, even teachers. Everybody wants to feel important, and they can never feel important if they don't have responsibilities or a vote in decision making. When you create a school of leaders, students want to emulate that. Like my friend Tim Reardon says, it's the self-fulfilling prophecy. If you create a system where only the top leader can make the decisions, you create an environment where everybody is passive, waiting for you. But if you create an environment of leaders, people will want to emulate that, and that prophecy of leadership, of good decision making is going to happen, and both students, faculty, staff, community, and administrators benefit. Conclusion. Abraham Lincoln's leadership journey offers invaluable lessons for today's school principals. By applying empathy, dealing with challenges constructively, fostering collaboration, and learning from past mistakes, principals can create a positive learning environment that brings out the best in every student and teacher. Wishing all school principals, teachers, and leaders a wonderful school year 2023-2024. Do your absolute best to lead with empathy, inspire collaboration, and never stop learning from the past to shape a brighter future for your school community. As always, when we do good things happen. Peace and calm.
Thank you for listening to Wisdom and Productivity, the podcast of Dr. Efrain Martinez.
Chulo.
And as of that production, chill out.